Hello, readers of Every Word, and welcome to Every Word 365. I'm your host, Christina Munoz-Madsen, and today we're reading Zechariah 1 through 2. Look for a small but significant and sincere compliment you can pay to each person you encounter today. Watch how attitude changes as others see you seeking to build them up rather than trying to tear them down. After all, we were put on this earth not to see through one another, but to see one another through. And encouragement helps. I love that. That was, of course, today's daily walk. And there's some suggestions there to help you do that. On to Zechariah. Chapter 1, verse 1 identifies the author of the book as Zechariah as the prophet Zechariah. The book was likely written in two primary segments between 520 and 470 BC. Zechariah emphasized that God has used his prophets to teach, warn, and correct his people. Unfortunately, they refused to listen. Their sin brought God's punishment. The book also bears evidence that even prophecy could be corrupted. History shows that in this period, prophecy fell into disfavor among the Jews, leading to the period between the Testaments when no lasting prophetic voice spoke to God's people. The book of Zechariah teaches that salvation may be obtained by all. The last chapter depicts peoples from all over the world coming to worship God, who desires that all people follow him. This is not the doctrine of universalism, that all people would be saved because it is God's nature to save. Rather, the book teaches that God desires that all people worship him and accepts those who do, regardless of their national or political expressions, as in the freeing of Judah and Jerusalem from their political enemies. Finally, Zechariah preached that God is sovereign over this world, any appearance to the contrary notwithstanding. His visions of the future indicate that God sees all that will happen. The depiction of God's intervention in the world teach that ultimately he will bring human events to the end he chooses. He does not eliminate the individual's freedom to follow God or rebel, but holds people responsible for the choices they make. In the last chapter, even the forces of nature respond to God's control. Prophecies about Jesus Christ and the Messianic era abound in Zechariah, from the promise that Messiah would come and dwell in our midst, to the symbolism of the branch and the stone, to the promise of his second coming, where they who pierced him will look upon him and mourn. Christ is the theme of the book of Zechariah. Jesus is the Savior of Israel, a fountain whose blood covers the sins of all who come to him for salvation. And that is all from a summary of the book of Zechariah from Got Questions, and I'm including a few more links from that part of our reading. Tomorrow is Zechariah 3 through 4. Happy reading! This episode is made possible in part by Arkansas Filter. Arkansas Filter has been serving the state of Arkansas for over 40 years. They sell and service a full suite of commercial, industrial, and residential filters. They are also one of the largest suppliers of UV lights, Yates belts, and HVAC chemicals and cleaners. They partner with HVAC and engineering firms to provide a variety of services and pride themselves on customer service both during and after the sale. Go to arkansasfilter.net, and of course we've included a link in the podcast description.